Their dirty, tangled dark hair, filthy clothes, and emaciated bodies. Their eyes bright in their grimy faces, their cheeks streaked with tears. The young woman turned back to the other social workers, her expression full of sadness. "There has to be a chance." "I've just been over this." The man with the report sounded exasperated. He checked his watch for the third time. He'd promised to take his children to the cinema. "We've got couples fighting over the little girl, but very few are interested in the boys. We should be grateful to have found this solution. It would be futile to go on hunting for some hypothetical perfect couple. All prospective adopters come to us, and we've been through the list with a fine-tooth comb. In the circumstances, this is by far the most satisfactory outcome." There wasn't much that could be said to this, and they nodded gravely, all except the young woman. Her eyes radiated desperation. "But they seem so close. I'm worried being separated could damage them for life." This time the reports were shaken so vigorously that the resulting draft lifted the hair of those present. "Two different psychiatrists have stated in no uncertain terms that it would be in the best interests of the younger two to be parted. The boy has assumed the role of protector for his little sister. He's smothering her with all the love and care he's missed out on himself, even though he's only a small child. He won't leave her alone. He's tormented with stress and anxiety on her account. The boy's only 3 years old, for God's sake." The man paused for breath. "It's not a question of having to read between the lines. The reports are explicit. Being separated would be best for both of them. His relationship with her isn't healthy. In fact, both boys have been worse affected than their sister. They're older, after all." There was a movement on the bench. The younger boy had shifted nearer to his sister. He put his arm round her shoulders and pulled her close. You would have thought he'd heard them through the glass. "I, for one, don't think we can afford to cast doubt on their professional opinion." The woman who said this had also intimated that her time was limited. She spoke quickly, impatiently tapping her foot. "They're the experts. We can't begin to imagine what the children's lives have been like. For what it's worth, I think we should hurry up and get it over with. It would be naive to go on searching for a fairy tale solution. It doesn't exist. But what'll happen when they're older and realise that breaking them up was avoidable?" The oldest member of the team now weighed in. "Most of us here are familiar with what happens when people are filled with bitterness against the system. It can take over their lives." He was fast approaching retirement, and hoped against hope that this would be the last difficult case to land on his desk. Surely that wasn't too much to ask. His hair had long since turned white. He was on medication for his blood pressure, and his face was deeply scored with lines. "The adoptive parents will keep their background secret. It would be in all their interests, especially the younger two. It shouldn't be too difficult either, since they're unlikely to remember anything. The girl's barely 1. I suppose there's a risk the eldest boy might retain some memories, but we can't be sure. And even if he does, they'll be muddled and fade over time. I mean, how much do you remember from when you were 4? "Plenty." It seemed the young woman was alone in retaining such early memories. The others could recall only vague, dreamlike fragments, but even she couldn't remember anything from when she was 1. The little girl, who was so much in demand, would come out of it best, and not only because she was adorable. The boys had been harder hit by the events of the last couple of years, and were already displaying the signs. The younger by his excessive love and solicitude for his sister, the elder by his indifference towards the world. The brief report from the police officers who had gone to the scene in response to the mother's phone call had been so shocking that none of those present wished to recall the details. It would be a mercy if time obliterated all trace of the events from the children's minds. Sadly, though, the young woman doubted this would happen. The trauma would have been too great. My memories are generally associated with bad experiences, like when I shut my finger in the door of the bakery, aged 3, or saw my friend hit by a car when I was 5. But there's